The sky above the neutral planet of Virelia burned with colors no human eye had ever seen before. Stars shimmered in shades of violet and green, while fragments of distant warships glinted like diamonds caught in the light of a dying sun. Smoke rose from the surface, twisted into strange shapes by the planet's weak gravity, carrying the acrid scent of burned metal and ozone. War had come here often, leaving nothing untouched. And yet, amidst all this chaos, a small figure stepped onto the cracked streets, a human boy, only 12 years old. Eli Carter adjusted the strap of his worn backpack and looked around. His brown eyes reflected a mixture of curiosity and calm, as if he were walking through a garden rather than a battlefield. The alien soldiers who patrolled the streets paused when they saw him. Some laughed, others sneered. A human boy alone? This was not a common sight in the arena of the Prince's War. The Prince's War was legendary across the galaxy. Mighty heirs from dozens of powerful star systems fought constantly, not just for territory but for reputation, influence, and dominance. Entire fleets clashed, cities crumbled, and yet the rulers always called it honorable competition. To outsiders, it was chaos disguised as politics. To the boy, it was fascinating. Eli stepped over a twisted piece of metal, glancing at the towering buildings around him. They were scarred by laser blasts and missile strikes, yet their architecture remained strange and beautiful. He had seen pictures in books back on Earth, but nothing compared to standing here. The humans in his history lessons had explored continents, fought wars, and built civilizations, but none had left footprints among the stars like this, at least not yet. Eli smiled to himself. "Hey, human," a voice barked. Eli turned to see a hulking figure approaching. Its skin shimmered silver and its eyes glowed with the intensity of molten metal. It was an alien soldier, part of a local faction that had survived the latest skirmish. "This planet is dangerous. You don't belong here. Leave before you're crushed like the rest." Eli tilted his head. "I'm not here to fight," he said simply, his voice calm and clear. The soldier snorted. "No one comes here for peace. Everyone is here for power. Don't pretend you're special." Eli's lips curved into a small, confident smile. "I'm not pretending." The soldier froze, unsure if the boy was joking. Then, with a frustrated growl, he turned and stomped away, leaving Eli alone. And yet, for every scornful glance or challenge, something unusual happened. The aliens watching him whispered to each other. Whispers spread quickly across Virelia. A human boy? Alone, bold, or insane? Eli walked through the streets, taking note of the remnants of weapons and technology abandoned in the chaos. Here, a hovering tank had been ripped apart. There, a squad of small robotic scouts lay tangled like fallen insects. Each object fascinated him. To most, this was destruction. To him, it was a puzzle. He bent down to examine a small energy device, turning it over in his hands. Its design was complex, with circuitry unlike anything on Earth. Yet, after a few moments, Eli understood its purpose, how it could release energy, how it could be used to power something else, even in battle. He smiled again, not out of arrogance, but excitement. By midday, Eli reached the outskirts of the central city, where a massive structure loomed above everything else, the Galactic War Council arena. Its towers glinted like silver daggers, and the plaza outside was filled with creatures of every shape and size. Some had wings, some had multiple eyes, some moved like serpents with legs. They all carried weapons, armor, and a sense of lethal readiness. And in the midst of this, Eli felt, calm rumors had already begun. Aliens whispered, "That boy. He smiles in the face of danger. No human should dare enter the arena." One of the junior princes laughed. "Humans are weak. They cannot survive here." Eli's smile widened slightly. Humans had survived deserts, oceans, wars, plagues. He thought, why not survive a few alien princes? At the entrance to the arena, a floating hologram announced the next event. The Prince's Challenge, open to all who dare. Only the strongest survive. Entry by declaration or invitation. Eli raised his hand. "I want to enter." The hologram paused, then repeated, "All entrants must be registered. Are you prepared to face death?" "I am," Eli said with the same calmness that had unnerved so many already. The aliens around him gasped. Some whispered, "A human? Alone against princes?" Others simply shook their heads in disbelief. But the announcement had been made. Eli Carter, the human boy, was now officially part of the Prince's Challenge. As he stepped inside the arena, the world changed. Gravity shifted. Lights blinked in complex sequences. Holographic landscapes appeared and disappeared in seconds. Eli could see energy shields flicker, warships hovering, and the faint outline of distant planets spinning slowly in the virtual sky. The arena was more than a battlefield. It was a classroom, a puzzle, a trap, and a stage all at once, and there, in the distance, Eli saw him, Prince Xylar, the most feared and cunning prince in the galaxy. His armor gleamed black and red. His helmet reflected the arena lights, and his presence made even seasoned aliens step back. He had destroyed entire fleets with his strategy alone. Eli could feel the intensity radiating from him, a force of nature refined over decades of war. Xylar's eyes fixed on Eli, and the arena seemed to quiet around them. "A human child," he said, his voice deep and cold echoing through the arena. "Tell me, why do you smile?" Eli's answer was simple, honest and fearless. "Because I can." A ripple of disbelief moved through the spectators. Eli did not flinch. He did not run. He did not cower. And in that moment, something unexpected happened. Prince Xylar leaned slightly forward, intrigued rather than angry. Most challengers cowered or shouted. This boy, he smiled. The first test of the prince's challenge was about to begin, and the galaxy would soon discover that humans, especially one small human boy, were not to be underestimated. Eli took a deep breath and stepped further into the arena. He did not know what challenges awaited, nor how deadly they would be. But he knew one thing. Humans had a history of surviving impossible odds, and right now he was smiling. Even amidst the chaos of a galaxy at war, that smile was a signal. Something extraordinary had arrived. The arena was alive. Lights blinked in impossible patterns, and holographic projections of planets, mountains, and rivers shifted constantly. The air hummed with energy, carrying the scent of alien metals and ionized particles. Eli Carter stepped cautiously yet confidently into the central field. Around him, dozens of alien competitors prepared for the first test, a challenge that was meant to weed out the weak, the unprepared, and the foolish. Eli's small frame drew immediate attention. Most of the aliens towered over him, armed with plasma blades, energy shields, and weapons that could destroy entire cities. A few whispered, "The human, he will die quickly." Others laughed openly, confident that this boy was a mere joke in the deadly theater of the prince's war. A voice boomed through the arena, amplified by the central speakers. "Welcome, entrants, to the first test of the prince's challenge. You will face a series of obstacles, both physical and mental. Only those who survive all challenges will proceed. The test begins now." Immediately, the ground shifted beneath them. Sections of the floor rose and fell like waves. Glowing grids appeared beneath their feet, and holographic enemies materialized from thin air. The arena was designed to test instincts, intelligence, and courage. Eli smiled, adjusting the strap of his backpack. He had never seen technology like this, but humans had a talent for improvising. Observation, quick thinking, and creativity could be just as effective as strength. The first wave of holographic opponents charged forward, creatures with multiple limbs, sharp claws, and glowing eyes. The larger aliens attacked with brute force, swinging weapons and firing energy blasts. Eli stepped lightly to the side, avoiding attacks with precise timing. He noticed a weak point in the floor grid, a panel that could trigger a small shockwave if pressed in the right sequence. With careful steps, Eli guided a holographic creature toward the panel. The creature stumbled, its energy dispersed in a harmless explosion. Other competitors looked on, astonished. None had thought to use the environment so cleverly. "Impressive," said a deep voice behind him. Eli turned to see a tall alien in blue armor, observing from the side. He was Kale, a former war strategist turned mentor for the arena. "Most entrants rely on their weapons. You think differently." Eli shrugged. "I just notice things." Kale's eyes narrowed, curious and approving. "Not many humans make it this far. You might survive longer than anyone expects." As the test progressed, the challenges became more complex. Holographic walls shifted constantly, forcing competitors to adapt instantly. Some sections required speed and agility. Others required problem-solving, such as rerouting energy flows to open doors or deflecting projectiles with precise timing. The alien competitors grew frustrated. Many of them tried to rely on sheer power, blasting through obstacles with little thought. Each time they failed. Eli, however, remained calm. He observed patterns, predicted movements, and used the environment to his advantage. One obstacle was a narrow bridge suspended above a glowing energy pit. Two alien soldiers approached, weapons drawn, clearly intending to knock him off. Eli's heart beat steadily, but his expression was calm. He noticed a control panel on the bridge's side, slightly concealed under a metal beam. With a quick leap, he pressed it. The bridge vibrated, launching the two aliens into the pit harmlessly. A small crowd of holographic spectators gasped. A human boy had outsmarted trained warriors. Remarkable, Kale muttered under his breath. He doesn't fight like a normal creature of his size. He adapts, he predicts. He thrives on instinct and observation. Next came the mental challenge. A series of holographic puzzles appeared in midair, floating symbols and codes that required quick reasoning. Each alien attempted to brute force the puzzles, pressing random symbols or relying on luck. Eli, however, paused, observing the sequence and testing small possibilities before committing. Slowly, he solved each puzzle with methodical precision, unlocking doors and pathways ahead. By the time the first round ended, Eli had advanced further than anyone expected. He had not been the strongest, the fastest, or the most armed, but he had been the smartest. And somehow his calm smile unsettled the other competitors. "Who is this human?" one alien muttered to another. "He smiles, like he knows something we don't." As the second wave began, the arena introduced real opponents, trained alien warriors, each a master in their own fighting style. The largest of them, a creature with 4 arms and glowing red eyes, charged directly at Eli. His claws were sharp enough to cut through armor. Eli's first thought was, run? No, running would only corner him. Instead, he studied the alien stance, noting how it shifted weight from one foot to another. When the creature lunged, Eli sidestepped, grabbed a small floating device from his pack and activated it. The device emitted a sudden flash of light, disorienting the alien long enough for Eli to slip past. He did not strike, did not harm. It was enough to survive. Kyle watched closely, impressed. Humans were rare in the galaxy, and humans who could remain composed under life-threatening situations were rarer still. Eli was showing a talent that no one had predicted. Meanwhile, Prince Xylar, who had been observing from his private gallery, leaned forward. He had seen many competitors, strong, ruthless, intelligent, but none had faced his arena with a smile. "Interesting," he murmured. "The human boy is unafraid. He sees the battlefield differently." The arena's final segment was the most dangerous, a collapsing simulation of a city under bombardment. Debris fell from above, energy blasts struck randomly, and holographic enemies attacked from all directions. Competitors screamed, dodged, and panicked. Many fell into the traps, vanishing in harmless explosions designed to eliminate them from the simulation. Eli, however, moved calmly, observing patterns in the falling debris and enemy attacks. He realized that the blasts followed a rhythm, almost musical in their timing. Using that knowledge, he weaved through the chaos, barely touched by the destruction around him. Finally, Eli reached the control center at the city's core. From there, he could deactivate the simulation. With steady hands, he pressed a series of buttons, shutting down the collapsing city just as the last wave of enemies approached. The arena fell silent for a moment, as if stunned by what had just happened. The holographic announcer's voice rang out. "The first test is complete. One human boy has survived. No one else comes close." The alien spectators erupted in astonishment. The stronger, older competitors looked at Eli with disbelief, fear, and grudging respect. He had survived the impossible, and he had done it with minimal force, relying instead on observation, logic, and calm determination. Kale approached Eli as he caught his breath. "I've trained warriors for decades. I've never seen someone think like you. You don't fight the way they expect. You turn their strength into weakness." Eli smiled, wiping dust from his sleeves. "It's not about strength," he said simply. "It's about noticing what others miss." Kyle nodded, intrigued. "Yes, humans are unusual that way. Perhaps your race has something the galaxy has forgotten." Meanwhile, Prince Xylar's eyes narrowed. A human child had just survived the first test where even seasoned princes struggled. This was not just luck. There was something extraordinary in the boy. Xylar leaned back, studying him silently, and for the first time curiosity replaced arrogance. As the day ended, Eli stepped out of the arena. The city outside was quiet now. The chaos momentarily paused. Yet whispers followed him wherever he went. Aliens discussed him in low tones, some admiring, others suspicious. One thing was clear, the human boy was no ordinary competitor. Eli smiled again. The first test had been difficult, but it had been a challenge he could solve. And he knew this was only the beginning. The prince's war was vast, deadly, and ruthless, yet he felt alive. And in that dangerous galaxy, feeling alive was already a kind of victory. As night fell over Veralia, the stars above seemed to shine a little brighter, reflecting in Eli's wide, confident eyes. He was small. He was human. And yet somehow in a galaxy ruled by princes and war, he had begun to leave his mark. The arena, the challenges, the princes, they would all come to learn one lesson soon. Humans, especially this one, are not to be underestimated. The next day, Veralia's central arena was alive with tension. Eli Carter, the human boy who had survived the first test, walked among alien spectators and competitors alike. His calm smile drawing both admiration and suspicion. Whispers followed him. A human. He survived the arena? The prince's challenge was more than a test of strength. It was a battlefield for alliances, deception, and strategy. The first test had revealed Eli's ingenuity, but now the war's deeper games began. For centuries, alien princes had fought for dominance, building complex networks of loyalty and betrayal. And yet Eli's presence disrupted every expectation. Human, a voice called. Eli turned to see a small winged alien hovering above him. Its golden eyes glowed softly. I am Lyra of the Kintari. I have watched you. You're thinking, it is unusual. Perhaps we can help each other. Eli tilted his head, curious. Why would you help me? Lyra landed gracefully beside him. Because I see value where others see weakness. If we work together, we can survive the next phase. Alone, you may not last. Eli nodded slowly. Cooperation had always been a human strength. History was full of moments where alliances, sometimes unlikely, had turned the tide of conflict. He decided to trust her. Okay, let's work together. Their alliance was immediately noticed by other contestants. Some laughed, seeing it as a desperate move by the human boy. Others frowned, recognizing that Eli's calm and intelligence made him a dangerous ally. Among the princes, Prince Xylar watched silently, his sharp eyes narrowing. A human forming alliances so quickly. Intriguing. The next challenge was announced. The deadlock battle. Alliances may form, but only those who control the strategic point survive. Eliminate your enemies or be eliminated. Eli and Lyra moved toward a central platform, floating above a chasm filled with swirling energy. Other competitors rushed to occupy key positions, wielding weapons and shields. Eli observed carefully. Most relied on brute force, attacking quickly without coordination. Eli and Lyra, however, moved methodically, choosing positions with clear lines of sight and cover. Your strategy? Lyra asked. Watch, observe, then act, Eli said with a smile. Force and speed alone won't work. Timing and placement matter more. As predicted, opponents rushed forward, colliding and struggling to gain control of the platform. Eli noticed a pattern. The guards defending the central point rotated every 10 seconds, creating a brief gap. He whispered the observation to Lyra, and together they slipped past the defenders, securing the platform without engaging in heavy combat. A few aliens tried to challenge them, but Eli's unorthodox approach, using small tools and distractions from his pack, confused the attackers. One enemy launched a net trap, which Eli dodged by predicting its trajectory. He then activated a device that reflected light into the opponent's eyes, forcing them to retreat. The spectators gasped. Humans were small, physically weak, and seemingly defenseless. But Eli's intelligence, adaptability, and quick thinking turned the tables repeatedly. Each move left alien warriors unsettled. They expected force. They got cunning. Meanwhile, Lyra spoke softly. I have never seen a human act like this. You do not fight like the others, Eli shrugged. I fight how I have to. Strength is useful, but thinking ahead is better. As the deadlock battle progressed, Eli noticed tension growing among the rival princes. Two factions, the Zetherians and the Corvins, had formed a temporary alliance to eliminate him and Lyra. Their fleets of soldiers descended toward the platform, their energy weapons glowing dangerously. Most contestants would panic, but Eli observed carefully. He realized that the Zetherian guards were too aggressive, leaving their flanks exposed. The Corvins, confident in numbers, were overextended. Eli whispered a plan to Lyra. "We need to lure them into the choke points. Their own aggression will trap them." Lyra nodded. Together, they created a small diversion. A device from Eli's pack released a cloud of bright particles that resembled an explosion. The Zetherians rushed forward while the Corvins moved in to intercept them. Caught in each other's paths, the rival forces collided, neutralizing each other without a single strike from Eli. Eli stepped forward, placing himself in the center of the chaos, and smiled. The princes and soldiers froze, unsure how one human boy had caused this outcome. Whispers ran through the arena. A child, controlling the battlefield without fighting. Even Prince Xylar's interest grew. He leaned forward, studying Eli. He does not rely on weapons or fear. His mind is his strength. Perhaps humanity has been underestimated all along. As the deadlock battle ended, Eli and Lyra were the only ones left standing on the platform. The arena's holographic systems announced their success, and a wave of murmurs spread across the spectators. Eli had survived not just because of luck, but because of his human traits: observation, adaptability, and the ability to think differently. After the battle, Kale approached again. "You continue to surprise me," he said. "Most would have tried to fight their way through. You use the world around you. You turn others' strengths into weaknesses." Eli smiled faintly. "It's not about tricking them. It's about seeing what they cannot see. That's what humans do." Kyle's eyes glimmered with understanding. "Indeed, that is why humanity endures. You are small, but your mind at it is vast. Keep this up and you will not just survive. You may change the entire course of this war." As evening fell, the arena emptied, leaving Eli and Lyra on the platform, looking at the horizon. Distant planets glimmered against the deep space sky, their lights twinkling like jewels. Eli felt a strange thrill. He was far from Earth in a galaxy ruled by princes and war, and yet he felt alive. Lyra glanced at him. "Tomorrow's challenge will be harder. The princes will not allow a human to continue so easily. You will face not just skill but cunning, strategy, and deception." "Are you ready?" Eli's smile widened. "I'm ready. This war, it's not about being the strongest. It's about thinking, adapting, and surviving. That's what humans do." The stars above seemed to shine brighter that night, reflecting in Eli's confident eyes. Somewhere across the galaxy, Prince Xylar studied him, intrigued. Somewhere else, rival factions whispered anxiously. And somewhere deep in the arena's control systems, Kale smiled knowingly. Eli Carter, the human boy, had formed his first alliance. And with it, he had begun to turn the galaxy's deadliest war into a puzzle he could solve. One calm, calculated, and smiling step at a time. For the first time, the galaxy was beginning to realize something incredible. A human's mind could be more dangerous than any fleet, weapon, or prince. The morning sun on Virelia glowed pale blue, barely cutting through the haze of smoke and dust from the last day's challenges. Eli Carter, the human boy who had survived the first two trials, walked calmly toward the next arena, his backpack secure and his expression serene. Lyra of the Kintari followed closely, wings folded neatly behind her. Together they had survived challenges that alien veterans had failed. But today the stakes would be higher, much higher. The announcement blared across the arena. "Welcome to the deadly game. Alliances are allowed, but deception, sabotage, and strategy are the keys to survival. Only those who dominate all central points may proceed." Eli glanced at Lyra. "This one will be different. They'll try to trap us." Lyra nodded. "Yes, the princes themselves will intervene this time. Their strategies are deadly and their fleets are prepared to crush anyone standing in their way." Eli's smile did not waver. "All the better. Let's see what they do." The arena transformed into a vast battlefield suspended among asteroids, floating in the void of space. The ground shifted constantly, with platforms rising and falling. Energy barriers flickered and swirling vortexes of debris created hazards at every turn. Hovering ships and alien fleets circled above, ready to bombard anyone who made a mistake. This was not a mere simulation. It was a real test, designed to push competitors to their limits. Eli observed the battlefield carefully. He noticed patterns in the movement of the enemy fleets. Each prince had their own preferred tactics, and their ships followed predictable trajectories. Most competitors panicked, charging recklessly or firing blindly at distant targets. Eli, however, moved calmly. "Notice their rhythm," he whispered to Lyra. "Each prince repeats the same pattern every few seconds. If we act between the shifts, we can avoid them entirely." Lyra's eyes widened. "A human can see that?" "Incredible," Eli nodded. "It's what humans do. We survive by observing, learning, and adapting." As the challenge began, rival factions attempted to attack immediately. Plasma blasts and energy missiles streaked through the void. One alien general, towering over even Lyra, lunged at Eli directly with a spear-like weapon. Most would have panicked. Eli, however, noted the general's stance and momentum. Timing his movement perfectly, he sidestepped and used the platform's shifting energy field to propel the alien past him. The opponent crashed into a floating rock formation, dazed but unharmed, enough to avoid elimination. Lyra stared. "You didn't even touch him." Eli shrugged. "I didn't need to. Survival isn't about fighting. It's about understanding the battlefield better than everyone else." Meanwhile, Prince Xylar observed from his flagship, his black and red armor glinting in the sunlight of distant stars. "He smiles again," Xylar murmured. "A human child, and yet he moves like a master strategist. How?" Above the battlefield, fleets clashed violently, yet Eli and Lyra navigated through the chaos using clever tricks rather than brute force. Eli activated a small device that emitted pulses mimicking enemy signals. Rival ships, mistaking the pulses for their own commands, shifted slightly, opening gaps. Eli and Lyra passed safely through these gaps, unnoticed by anyone but the most attentive. Eli spotted a group of elite warriors attempting to flank them. Instead of confronting them directly, he noticed a cluster of debris with sharp edges floating nearby. Using his pack's small propulsion module, he nudged the debris toward the attackers. The holographic shields of the warriors flickered as they dodged, giving Eli and Lyra time to escape. Once again, he survived without direct combat. "Humans," Lyra whispered. "They fight differently. They use the environment, not themselves." Eli smiled faintly. "It's not different. It's effective. Most creatures rely on raw strength. We rely on thinking." As the deadly game progressed, the challenge became more dangerous. Entire platforms collapsed, forcing competitors to jump from asteroid to asteroid. Energy fields shifted unpredictably, and holographic traps appeared in every corner. Most aliens were eliminated quickly, either by missteps or panic. But Eli and Lyra remained, moving with precision, observing patterns and exploiting every opening. The climax approached when the princes themselves intervened directly. Prince Xylar deployed his personal strike fleet, a formation of heavily armed ships designed to overwhelm any competitor. Most entrants would have fled or attacked blindly. Eli, however, analyzed the formation carefully. He noticed that Xylar's ships rotated in a predictable pattern, leaving a small blind spot between two of them. "Here," Eli whispered to Lyra. "We go between them, fast, precise, and calm." They launched their own small hovercraft from the platform, weaving between the massive ships. Xylar's forces fired relentlessly, but Eli predicted each strike, adjusting their course with precision. Lyra, amazed, muttered, "He moves like he can see the future." Eli only smiled. "Not the future, just patterns, observation." As they passed the blind spot, Eli noticed a central energy core controlling the rotating platforms. If they could reach it, they could manipulate the battlefield. He guided Lyra toward the core while avoiding enemy fire. With a steady hand, Eli activated a sequence of commands he had deduced from the pattern of the energy flow. The platforms stabilized in positions favorable to them, creating a perfect vantage point. Enemy ships attempted to react, but Eli anticipated their movements. Each attack was countered not by weapons but by clever placement, timing, and control of the environment. The battlefield itself became a tool in the human boy's hands. From his vantage point, Xylar watched closely, fascination replacing initial skepticism. This child, he is not just surviving, he is controlling the game itself. The final phase involved direct confrontation with multiple elite princes in a central arena. They expected a bloody fight, but Eli's approach was different. Using timing, obstacles, and clever distractions, he avoided direct combat, turning the prince's own attacks against them. One prince charged only to trip over a small device Eli had planted, sending him crashing into a holographic wall. Another attempted a ranged attack but misfired after Eli manipulated the energy shield's alignment. By the time the final alert sounded, only Eli and Lyra stood in the arena, unharmed but victorious. The deadliest direct combat in the Prince's War had been survived, not through raw power but through human ingenuity. The spectators erupted in astonishment. Whispers spread, a human boy. Controlling multiple princes? Impossible. Kale appeared beside Eli once more. I have trained for decades, and I have never seen anyone do what you just did. Humans, your race has a gift. You think differently, and the galaxy has underestimated you. Eli smiled faintly, tired but calm. It's not a gift. It's just what humans do. Even Prince Xylar, observing from afar, had to admit a grudging respect. A human child had faced elite warriors, deadly fleets, and the most cunning princes and survived. Xylar's expression remained unreadable, but one thought flickered in his mind. This boy may be the key to something the galaxy has never seen before. As night fell over the asteroid battlefield, Eli and Lyra looked out at the swirling void. Stars twinkled against the black distant planets glimmered, and the remnants of the challenge floated silently around them. Eli felt a thrill unlike any before. He was far from Earth, in a galaxy ruled by power and ambition, and yet he had survived. Not by fighting harder, but by thinking smarter. Lyra smiled. You've changed the way they see this war, human. They won't forget you. Eli's lips curved into the same calm smile that had unnerved princes and spectators alike. Good, let them learn. The Prince's War isn't about who has the strongest fleet. It's about who can think, adapt, and survive. Above them, stars shone brighter, reflecting in Eli's confident eyes. The galaxy had begun to notice something remarkable. A human mind could turn even the deadliest battles into opportunities. And Eli? He simply smiled, knowing the final challenges and the princes themselves still awaited. The day of the final council arrived. The central throne world of the Prince's War gleamed like a jewel in space, suspended above a planet of swirling blue and green. Massive towers of crystal and metal reflected the light of distant stars. Alien dignitaries from across the galaxy gathered in the grand hall, their forms diverse and astonishing, some with scales, some with wings, some with eyes in unexpected places. All had come to witness the conclusion of the Prince's challenge. Eli Carter walked calmly through the enormous corridors of the council chamber. Beside him, Lyra hovered, golden wings catching the light. Whispers followed them wherever they went. Even now, weeks after entering the war, the galaxy still struggled to comprehend a human boy surviving where seasoned princes had failed. Prince Xylar waited at the center of the council floor, his black and red armor gleaming. His expression was unreadable, though a hint of curiosity flickered in his eyes. Around him, the other princes, generals, and advisors stared at Eli. They had expected fear, hesitation, or incompetence. Instead, they found calmness, confidence, and that unshakable human smile. Human, Xylar said, his deep voice echoing across the hall. You have survived impossible trials. You have outsmarted fleets, princes, and the arena itself. Tell me, why do you smile? Eli looked at the gathered audience, then back at Xylar. Because I see what you cannot. You fight to prove power. You fight to win. I fight to survive and to show what is possible when you think, adapt, and work together. Power is nothing without understanding, the council murmured, shocked at the audacity of a human child speaking to princes and leaders. Some laughed nervously. Others looked worried. None had expected such a simple, honest statement to carry so much weight. Xylar leaned forward slightly. Interesting. Go on. Eli stepped further into the center of the chamber. Your wars have destroyed countless worlds, lives, and resources. Yet you call it honor. You fight endlessly because you cannot see the bigger picture. I am small. I am human. And yet, I can show you a better way. A way to end this war without more bloodshed. The silence was heavy. Aliens who had survived for centuries in war could not immediately grasp a human's reasoning. Eli continued, humans have survived because we adapt. We cooperate, we think. Your fleets, your armies, your strategies. They are impressive. But they are limited by what you already know. I see beyond that. I see opportunity. I see peace. One prince, a towering Zetherian with silver scales, snarled, Do you mock us, human child? Eli shook his head. I do not mock. I only offer the truth. You fight for dominance, but dominance will not bring safety, growth, or progress. Cooperation can. Observation can. Thought can. You can end the war today if you are willing to see what humans see. Xylar studied him silently. He had faced countless challengers, strategists, and warriors. None had spoken with such clarity, confidence, and insight at such a young age. The human boy was not just clever. He was fearless, articulate, and calm. He did not rely on threats, intimidation, or weapons. His words alone carried weight. Kyle appeared at Eli's side. "He is correct," Kale whispered. "This is what humanity does. Your race survives not through raw power, but through cleverness, cooperation, and courage. Perhaps it is time the galaxy remembered this." The council debated among themselves. Some were angered, some intrigued. Many could not believe that a human child could stand in front of them and question the centuries of war. Eli waited patiently, smiling faintly, letting his words settle. Finally, Xylar spoke. "Very well. Humans, show us your way. Convince us. If you succeed, this war ends. Fail, and you face the consequences." Eli nodded. "Thank you." He turned and began a careful demonstration, using the council chamber's holographic systems to simulate the Prince's war across multiple star systems. He highlighted patterns, weak points, and opportunities for collaboration. Using logic and examples, he showed how fleets could protect planets without destroying them, how resources could be shared rather than stolen, and how alliances could create stability across the galaxy. The princes watched, some skeptical, some amazed. Gradually, even those who had long fought against each other began to see the sense in Eli's reasoning. What seemed impossible, a human child teaching princes how to end war, slowly became believable. Eli's words were simple, but precise. Your war is endless because you fight to prove power. If you instead fight to preserve life, to cooperate, and to think ahead, you will find strength greater than your fleets. You will be remembered not for destruction, but for wisdom. You can choose peace, not just victory. Lyra hovered nearby, proud. "He is incredible," she whispered. Even we did not think it possible to make them listen. Minutes passed. Hours, perhaps. The council deliberated silently, weighing the truth in the words of a human child. Finally, Prince Xylar stood. "Enough. This war has gone on for far too long. Perhaps this human child sees what we cannot. I approve his plan. The prince's war will end today under his guidance." A wave of murmurs and astonishment swept across the chamber. Aliens who had fought in the prince's war for decades could not believe what they had just witnessed. A human child, small, unarmed, and smiling, had convinced the galaxy's deadliest princes to stop fighting. Eli's heart pounded, but he remained calm. He had not only survived, he had reshaped the galaxy's future. He looked at Lyra, then at Kale, then back at the princes. "Thank you. This is only the beginning. If we work together, the galaxy can prosper. Humans will help wherever we can, but only if you allow it." For the first time in centuries, the council agreed. Plans were drawn to cease hostilities, redistribute resources, and establish lasting peace. Humans led by Eli became mediators and advisors across multiple star systems. Their ingenuity, calmness, and ability to see patterns no one else noticed became legendary. News spread quickly across the galaxy. A human child ended the prince's war. Fleets stopped fighting. Cities rebuilt. Planets began cooperating rather than competing. And everywhere, Eli's calm smile became a symbol of hope, courage, and the unique brilliance of humanity. Prince Xylar, once Eli's most skeptical observer, approached him privately. "You are extraordinary, human. I have seen countless warriors, strategists, and rulers. None have matched you. You have changed the galaxy." Eli smiled faintly. "I only did what humans do best: think, adapt, and survive. You all had the strength. I only showed how to use it wisely." Xylar nodded. "Then I will remember this lesson. Humanity may be the galaxy's greatest surprise." Months later, as Eli looked out from a council tower over a restored city, he reflected on his journey. He had been a small human boy from Earth, unknown and underestimated. Yet he had entered the most dangerous prince's war in the galaxy and survived every challenge. Not through weapons, not through brute strength, but through ingenuity, courage, and his unique human perspective. He smiled as he had from the beginning. The galaxy had learned a valuable truth. Humans were small, yes, but their minds, hearts, and courage were immense. And in a universe obsessed with power, sometimes the greatest strength lay in simple, fearless thought. Lyra hovered beside him, golden wings glinting. "You've done more than survive, Eli. You've changed the galaxy forever." Eli's eyes sparkled. "It's just the beginning. Humans will continue to explore, learn, and adapt. That's what we've always done." The stars shone brightly above, as if applauding a small human who dared to smile in the face of a galaxy at war. And everywhere, creatures of every kind began to see that perhaps the smallest among them could have the greatest impact. Eli Carter, human boy, hero, and pioneer, had not only survived the Prince's War, he had reshaped the fate of the galaxy. And through it all, he had done one simple thing. He had smiled.